Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited to be up on Wisdom Class webinar this evening. We must sincerely apologize for coming up very late. Nevertheless, we are good to go. And it's going to be an exciting moment once again because today we are looking at a very important aspect of my assignment, and that has to do with combating cultism and drug abuse in our higher institution of learning. So today we are looking at the way forward for our youths. We are looking at growth and personal development for our youths to fulfill destiny, and we are looking at purpose discovery. Very, very important. As you know me as the purpose doctor. One more time, I am Dr. Paul Uchechukwu Wisdom ESEGBUE. So I will begin with my slide, please. Looking at the way forward. The way forward. And we have on our outline the content for today's discussion. We will look at cultism, we will look at drug abuse, we will look at growth and personal development for destiny fulfillment, we'll look at purpose discovery for impactful living. I will not be taking this webinar on my own. ABIGAIL ODELADE will be joining me later on. But for now, I'm good to go. I'm giving us a little time for you to join us. I want you to join us. I want you to hook up with the link that has been sent to you. Join us now as we are ready to go. One more time, the topic is combating cultism and drug abuse in our institutions of higher learning. What is the way forward for our youths? And one of the most important aspects is purpose discovery for impactful living. I will take those two topics while ODELADE ABIGAIL will join us later to discuss growth and personal development for destiny fulfillment. So we begin with the history of cultism in Nigeria campuses. Confraternity system in Nigeria was not as violent as it is today. It started way back in 1952 during the last years of the British colonial rule by a set of young idealistic men. Among them is our Nobel laureate in literature, Wole Soyinka, a professor at the prestigious University of Ibadan in Oyo State in southwestern Nigeria. The students named themselves the National Association of Seadogs, or you could have called them pirates. They were just rebelling against notorious activities of the elites, and the original founders were just called the Magnificent Seven. They were committed to the pirate team. They used to even pretend to be pirates, wearing brand daggers and carrying cutlasses. According to Wole Soyinka, he said, we were just having fun. Soyinka told the BBC, he described the present confraternities as vile and evil groups. According to him, he said, I never imagined that any university-based group could actually adopt a mafia style, which involved manhood tests like rape, robbery, arms and murder, kidnapping like we have in our institutions today. Cult violence on campuses has decreased in recent years, and it came to its worst in the 80s and in the 90s when the Nigerian military leaders took over government the military was repeatedly accused of funding these confraternity groups to attack and suppress student protest movement that were demanding democracy. So it got to a stage that you can see alerts like this. This is a notice. Look, if you can look at your slide on your screen, you see alert, alert, alert. 1 million boys are coming to your area very soon. This is a notice pasted by a cult group that was ready to operate in an area. You can see Wole Soyinka say, at no time did I imagine that anything could degenerate, because what started as a mere student unionism degenerated to criminal activity that has spread all over the country of Nigeria. According to Omoyele Sowore, who was an ex-student leader, he said, they stabbed me in the head and left the knife there and stripped me naked. Cultists wanted to eliminate him as a student. Today, Sowore is still an activist, but we don't know about criminal activity. But right now, I want to look at cultism, drugs, and people trafficking, human trafficking, because the activities of some of these groups are no longer restricted to Nigeria alone. A cult group was accused of criminal activity in faraway Europe. Its members were among a group of 23 people that were arrested by the police in the Spanish region of Catalonia in 2015. So for being part of an international syndicate accused of trafficking in people and narcotics, they forged passports. The group was also accused of facilitating the transport of stolen crude oil into Europe. This is mere criminal activity by cult groups. But first of all, I have to let us know the definition of cultism. It's defined as a ritual practice, a group of people whose membership and mission, policy, and initiation formalities, as well as their mode of operations, are done in secret, and are kept secret, with the activities having negative effects on both members and non-members alike. So what has been the root cause of cultism in our society today? Our students, they go into cultism because they want to revenge, because they want to use cultism to gain political power. They are emotionally unstable, so they go into drug, and when they abuse drug, they become criminals. Sometimes it could be loneliness or poverty or the crave for wealth. Then some are just searching for protection, and some others just join the cult because of low self-esteem. At this time, we need to focus also on drug abuse and addiction. Drug abuse and addiction, they are now grouped together as substance or drug use disorder, but it's a condition that is characterized by a self-destructive pattern of using a substance that leads to significant problem and distress, which may include tolerance to or withdrawal from the substance. Let us make a difference between addiction and abuse, because drug abuse is when you use legal or illegal substances in ways you should not. You might take more than the regular dose of pills or use something else, someone else's prescription. You may abuse drugs to feel good or ease stress or avoid the reality, but usually you are able to change your unhealthy habit or stop using altogether. But addiction is when you can't stop this habit. Addiction is a disease that affects a person's brain and behavior and leads to an inability to control the use of a legal or illegal drug or medication. Let's talk about the most abused drug in Nigeria or all over the world is your marijuana. About 4.2% of those who are less than 65 or even older reported using marijuana in 2018, up from 2.4% in 2015. Cannabis has medical uses such as pain relief, but it can also cause problems. Around 141 million people worldwide consume cannabis. There are other illicit drug use. You use of illegal drugs like cocaine or heroin is much more lower. In our society, even in our community, in Abraka community, there are reports of use of cocaine. I cannot confirm for certainty if there is use of heroin, but I must warn our youths to run far from this drug called heroin, because just one exposure to this drug can lead to addiction. So it's a very, very dangerous drug to toy with. Addiction could be or abuse by a prescription drug, or it could be by a drug that is non-prescribed, that is over-the-counter drugs. There are drugs that you can get from the counter without a doctor's prescription that involve using a drug for a purpose or in a way other than what is prescribed by a doctor or what is recommended on the package. That amounts to abuse. Any drug that is prescribed, prescription drug abuse is responsible for 60% of overdose-related deaths. So some people mistakenly believe abusing prescription drugs is safer than taking street drugs. No, that's not the case. Abuse or misuse of prescription medications can lead to tolerance, which refers to the body's adaptation to the long-term use of a substance to the point where it no longer produces the desired effect. Something like your Nescafe, which you use to keep awake, is an addictive drug. When you start using it, you discover that it will keep you awake, but after some time, you become used to that particular dose. Even when you take Nescafe, you no longer sleep. So at that point, you need a higher dose. And that is how a lot of people have become addicted, because you keep craving for more and more and more. The result is that a person needs a higher dose of the substance to achieve the same response produced previously by the lower dose. So addiction is a brain condition that refers to intense seeking, craving, and using of a substance, even though it is harmful. Physical dependence is often, but not always, a component of addiction. What are the warning signs that you or a loved one may have a drug use disorder? You must know when a person that is living with you or a person that is close to you is taking drugs. But if you are not very, very careful, you may never know. But there are signs and symptoms. So why specific symptoms that are used to diagnose drug use disorder are described below. Warning signs that you or your loved one suffer from a drug-related problem include the following. When somebody starts having blackouts or loss of memory, mood problems like irritability, or sometimes the person is sad or the mood is swinging, then repeated arguments with loved ones. So you will suspect that probably this person may be on drugs. Person is unduly violent. Repeatedly using drugs to cope with problems. There are physical symptoms when abstaining from drug use. Physical problems due to drug use. Repeatedly using more drugs or using drugs for longer than intended, or spending less time on life obligations due to drug use. So there are over 190 million drug users around the world, and the problem has been increasing. at alarming rate, especially among young adults under the age of 30. So why does this happen? It's because people are facing big challenges later in life. They may feel stress and anxiety due to stressful life situations. Some turn to alcohol or drugs to soothe worries and fill the time. Many drug abuse or substance abuse refers to the use of certain chemicals for the purpose of creating pleasurable effects on the brain, turning to drug to enhance sexual performance. Many just want to be high to carry out criminal activities. A lot are due to peer pressure and mere curiosity. Some do it for recreational purposes as a means of obtaining creative inspiration is also a known reason. The symptoms and signs of drug abuse has been mentioned, but they often vary depending on the substance being used or abused. But in general, there will be changes in the sleep pattern, the mood, the appetite are affected, the weight, the behavior, the personality accompanying drug use. A person who uses drug may appear unkept and have tremors, seizures, or slurred speech. People with drug problems often have trouble at work or in school. The friends and family and co-workers may notice and complain about problems in behavior. A person with a drug problem may have unusual emotional outbursts, lack motivation, or may engage in suspicious behavior. Drug use increases the likelihood of injuries and accidents. So, what happens to your brain when you take drugs? There will be changes in the brain, which can vary depending on the drug that people abuse. Virtually every drug that is abused has an effect on the function of the brain. The most important one is you can be remembered by thinking about the tasks of the chief executive officer in any company, planning, organizing, prioritizing, acting when it is time to act, as well as delaying or preventing action. So the brain is able to perform some inhibitory functions when appropriate. But the part of the brain that tend to harbor these excessive brain functions are the frontal part of the brain called the frontal lobe, including the frontal cortex and the prefrontal cortex. So when this person takes drugs, these inhibitory functions of the brain are impaired, causing the person to have trouble stopping him or her from acting on impulses that the brain will otherwise delay or prevent. This disinhibition can lead to the substance abuser engaging in aggressive behavior, sexual and criminal activity, dangerous or other activities that have devastating consequences for the addicted person or those around him. So that's the reason why the person's behavior changes. We also need to look at depression, because depression is a chronic mental health disorder characterized by a feeling of sadness or changing mood, causing significant impairment in daily life activities. So, what are the symptoms of depression? The persons have this sadness. The first is sadness, then there's a drug seeking behavior. So, depression and drug abuse is related. It's either drug abuse causes depression or depression leads to drug abuse. So, the person will lose interest in the people around and in the activities going on. He can't pay attention. He might develop low esteem or may have low energy, could be irritable, and he has trouble making decisions. The last part of the symptoms of depression is when the person start having suicidal thoughts. Then we have to briefly look at how can we prevent suicide in our society. Like I have identified, suicide is a result of depression. So my aim this evening is to empower you to recognize depression where it is found. You must be able to know when you are depressed or when your relative, the person staying with you, is depressed. I want to empower you to overcome depression. If you are depressed, it is possible to overcome it. It's possible and easy to come out of it, but it might look easy. All you need is information. You need to know what to do. And the most important information I want to leave with you this evening is that depression is treatable. If you know that you are depressed, you'll come out for treatment. If you don't know about depression, that's why we are talking to you, so that you will recognize when you are depressed. But I want to advise every one of you that listen to me today, don't wait until you're depressed or you even seek counseling. Because if you are depressed, you need to seek help. You can't help yourself. You can no longer help yourself. You need counseling from somebody. But if you don't begin to do that, when you get depressed, you lose your ability to come out for help, because you don't know who to talk to. You don't know who to trust. But if you have established a relationship before now, when you have some challenges, you know who to go to. You must learn to open your mouth wide. Don't die in silence. And don't even try to give up in life. I want to encourage you to have hope. I want to leave my number with you. At any time, you are free to call my number. At any time, I have made myself available for you to reach me. I will attend to you. I assure you, I will help you. So my number is 070-324-61384. One more time, you can call me, the Purpose Doctor, for help when you think you are depressed, when you have challenges. Instead of committing suicide, give me a chance. Call my number. One more time, my number is 0703-246-1384. I assure you once again, if you reach this number, you will get help. So don't commit suicide. Don't give up in life. Don't give up. Don't give up. So my recommendations and the way out for every one of us, because it is therefore imperative on the part of stakeholders in the university education, the churches, the mosque, our parents, school administrators, and the society at large, to fuse effort to eradicate the MENACE before it destroys the whole educational system. Besides, government should be more aggressive in a quest to eradicate cultism and drug abuse in our tertiary institutions. So if you suspect anyone you know is abusing drugs or is a cultist, you can call me, the Purpose Doctor, on 0703-246-1384. If you suspect your child may be using or abusing prescription or non-prescription medicine, there are steps you can take. Come right out and ask for help. As parents, you need to look for signs and symptoms of drug use, such as doing poorly in school, engaging in risky behavior, frequent fighting with family and friends, getting into trouble with the law. Learn the risk factors for drug use, like a family history of addiction or having friends who drink or use drugs. Monitor their activities and provide consequences when they use those drugs. That is the role of parents. The families, what can you do if you are worried about an older or a loved one using alcohol, drug? Talk to them about it. Be direct, but be kind. Don't be judgmental. They might not realize they need help. They may say they are fine, but encourage them to talk to a doctor. If that doesn't work, consider asking their doctor, their minister, or longtime friends to approach them instead. What is the way out for addicts? If you are already addicted to drugs, you are listening to me, you need to take a stand today, make a decision to break that addiction. Acknowledge where you have missed it in life and be willing to be free. I'm calling on you to join the drug-free club. I want everyone, whether you are addicted right now or you are not addicted, to hit this call, join the drug-free drug, so that we can help one another. But if you are addicted, you need to begin to seek help, and you need to begin to try to open up. And when you begin to get help, you also need to learn to avoid relapse by avoiding an exposure to the triggers of the abuse. You must know the triggers and identify them and avoid them. Generally, to the public, we must not cast away victims. We must not see them as misfits. We must encourage them, love them, and help them. Now, the way out, again, what is important is rehabilitation of those people that will heed my call and step out. We have plans to rehabilitate depressed people, to rehabilitate drug abusers, we have plans to rehabilitate people that we say, I will not commit suicide, I will talk to the purpose doctor. You will receive some rehabilitation from us. So another measure for drug abusers is solitary confinement. But I believe in training and empowerment of the people. Yes, some of the abusers is because of frustration in life, challenges in life. If you can train them and empower them, they will overcome that addiction. Part of our strategy is to make calls for people to randomly and voluntarily surrender themselves so we can help them. But when that strategy fails, we will go out for active searching out these people by random drug testing to identify abusers and send them out for rehabilitation. So that should be our modus operandi. We should not just be asking people that have problems to come out. We know they will not come out. So we will go out searching. We will seek them out and help them. So wherever you are, expect us. We will come doing random testing. When we test you for drug and we find you positive, we'll take care of you. But don't wait for that. Step out on your own. We have designed a training program to empower you. If you have reached a stage in life that you feel hopeless, nothing is working, no one is supporting you, you are taking drugs, no. We are here to empower you. This is our training and empowerment program. We might not isolate you, we might not confine you. We will help you to get out of the hopeless situation. So there are basic training programs like online business 101 that can empower you and help you and stabilize you in life. Wisdom class is the place to help you. Join our training program. And lastly, the way out is purpose discovery. Purpose discovery is therefore recommended as a way out for every sort of meaninglessness in life, every form of anxiety and depression, the uselessness that leads to drug abuse, or the uselessness that leads to cultism. Some people feel hopeless, so they are just useless. They are nothing good. They turn to drug or they turn to criminal activity. You need to discover your purpose in life. There is a reason why God made you. You need to appraise yourself. Sit back and think. When you discover that purpose, you will come out of that hopelessness. You will come out of that depression. When you know that purpose and focus on that purpose, you will find fulfillment in life. So begin to think about purpose discovery. Begin to think of the reason why you are alive.